Alright, what is up, everybody? Green Thumb here. So, my friend happened to come over this weekend, and he got me a little something interesting. It is a European cypress. Of course, I haven't been able to grow one as a normal tree, for say, but maybe I'll be able to do it as a bonsai. So, here he is. What's your YouTube channel name, Andrew?
Well, I actually just started the YouTube channel. It's Bonsai with Andrew. We used to have a paranormal YouTube channel, but we actually are getting ready to put that as a separate YouTube channel once we get that up and running. Uh, Again, it is my YouTube is Bonsai with Andrew, but I am Andrew Coons. I got this nice little European cypress, nice little windswept. I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of drawn to this tree. It kind of piqued my interest there, and I knew my buddy here, he really wanted a European cypress, and I figured, well, since it's already a bonsai, I'd go ahead and get it to him, so I went ahead and got it to him. It is a
What's
partial windswept.
what's cool about it too is you said it came from a traditional.
Traditional Japanese bonsai artist.
If you look, guys, I really ain't got nothing traditional bonsai, maybe besides my Fukian tea. So that'll be interesting. I'll probably wind up wiring that guy and doing it as a traditional bonsai. But go on, tell us a story about the how you met the guy and the prices he charged and where he's located.
Well, to start off, I don't know exactly where he's located. I know he travels.
Okay.
But I did see him in Seymour, Indiana. He parked in the abandoned little parking lot there by the Walmart distribution center. A little bit about me: I do work 2 jobs, 3 jobs when I have time. I am full time with a pallet recycling company and part time at a German restaurant. My German restaurant is Friday and Mondays in Seymour, Indiana. And Friday, before I came up to Muncie, I decided, I saw him parked out there, and I decided, well, you know what? I'll go ahead over there and take a nice little. I'm gonna set this back here real quick.
All right, that's all good.
A nice little, get some prices and whatnot, because I figured Mother's Day is coming up. I know Jared likes bonsai trees, and his family has been a second family to me. So his mom came first to mind, so I went ahead and got that for his mom.
But sadly, she doesn't take care of plants, does she, Andrew?
No, she does not. But the thought is always what counts. However, I figured since it is a bonsai tree, Jared would appreciate it, and his mom would appreciate it.
Yeah,
even though he does take care of them.
The bright side is, though, she'll get to see this tree develop. She'll get to see it grow. She'll get to see the windswept look I'm going to give it and everything like that. I was even debating on putting it on a rock eventually, maybe.
Indeed. So, anyways, I went ahead and was on my way over to Sunshine Cafe there in Seymour, Indiana, because I'm going to grab me a quick bite to eat before I made the long haul up here to Muncie. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop over there and get some prices for it. Well, I stopped over there and parked. And, I thought it was just going to be a normal guy who's, like Jared there and get out of a truck. No, this guy, he looked Asiatic of descent. I got to talking with him, and he's half Japanese. He is Filipino mainly, but he is his one of his parents was Japanese, and he is doing this as kind of like a side business to get out there. And I got to talking with him, and I was like, me and a friend of mine, we do bonsai trees ourselves. And he was like, oh, really?
What type of bonsais, though?
I am getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
I told him we do clip and grows. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know people, Americans in general did bonsai trees. I was like, oh, yeah. In fact, my buddy, he's the one that got me into it. And so we got to talking even more, and he seemed generally interested in us doing the bonsais. And I went ahead and asked him, I said, so what's your prices on these? Because I do know that, traditional bonsai trees, they get a little pricey. He said, well, the small ones are $20, and the large or the medium, sorry, medium are $40, and large are $75. And he went 20, 40, 75. Because the smalls and mediums, they were together, smalls being on the right, mediums being on the left, large being on the top. And I was like, oh, well, that's actually reasonably priced. It being a traditional bonsai tree, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and grab a small. And he said, all right, go ahead and pick out whichever one you want. And as soon as my eye caught it, I saw the windswept, and I was like, that one's kind of calling my name there.
And
Yep.
you, guys, sorry to interrupt you, but what's cool about this too is when you get them this small, you can start them out as windswept, or if you want, you could do a semi cascade or a full cascade eventually with these guys. Because, see, he got them really young, which was smart on his behalf. If that was his tree, he could choose how to style this now. And not only that, the other reason why the price was probably more reasonable is it's not in like a terracotta pot or anything like that. It's in if we look here, a plastic pot. Anything about the soil, it looks like here he used bark, sand, and maybe some sphagnum moss. Had to really look in the soil. I know you said you didn't really ask him about
He
the
didn't
soil type.
really go into much details about it, but each one had different soil in it.
You might want to speak up a little louder because we got this guy over
Oh,
here with the
yeah.
weed whacker.
He didn't really say much about it. He had two sides of his truck. So he had the European cypresses, sorry, tongue twister, on the side that I parked, and different plants on the other one. They were, of course, bonsai.
Now, did he have any like ficus trees?
I did not see any.
Okay, so he really stuck with like more temperate and cold hardy. Then it sounds like.
Right.
Okay.
They were more of what you would find in Indiana weather. So, for instance, European cypresses,
They're kind of iffy here.
other sorts of pines. I did see a Norfolk Island pine.
Okay, so he did go into a little bit of the tropical there.
It was a warm day. He did have it outside, so I'm assuming by him having the Norfolk Island pine as a bonsai, it would be more of an indoor bonsai.
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to, guys, you could keep them out. Like my mature ones, I have a bonsai. You can keep them out at 35 degrees Fahrenheit. That's usually the max for them, but we gotta remember too that when you work on them, they don't have that massive root system to supply them in the cold. So even though they might be able to take 35, say you work on a root system, they might only be able to take 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So, keep that in mind too if you guys ever, get into bonsais like I do or like he's doing.
And I'm not as 100% professional with these sorts of bonsais, which is one of the reasons why I gave it to Jared. I figured it'd be a nice little present. He does give me some plants, trees mainly, not pines or anything like that. I mainly work with ficus trees, um, the Fukian tea tree. I've got that one.
Yeah, the reason why, guys, I gave him ficus trees is because in the bonsai hobby, they're one of the more easier trees to mess with bonsai wise. And so he's still working with that. Right now, he's in the midst of trying to figure out his Fukian tea here. So, and that there is, even though it's easy for me, it's like mildly expert for him. So, we're on different levels of bonsai work here, but that's okay.
Another reason being is I don't really have a house. I have an apartment. I live in a duplex apartment, and my apartment is upstairs. So I really don't have any way to put anything outside when it needs it. For example, the cypresses. I have to stick with certain trees like the weeping fig ficus, the ginseng ficus. Those are good indoor plants that I can work with. So I'm mainly just trying to work around my environment.
Yeah. I mean, and that's understandable. I mean, that's what you gotta do. I mean, you're not like me where you can have tropicals or cold hardy if you choose to. Me, I can get a maple. And I can work with it, and, manipulate it, and let it go into a proper dormancy. And folks, he did try. He tried with the boxwood, and we tried putting it in the dormancy, and it didn't work out, and it did die on him. Even mine died on mine. Sorry, can't talk. Freaking weed whackers distract me. But even mine died on me because I didn't give it the proper light it needs. So, sometimes we gotta work with what we got. Like my lighting here is more shade, semi light in the afternoon, but mainly shade. So I use a lot of tropicals because they adapt better. Same with his situation. He has lower lighting. He only gets morning light to afternoon direct sunlight. And
I'm
then
usually in between the break of dawn when the sun comes up all the way to evening.
yeah, okay, so he doesn't get a whole lot of light. Especially when he was starting out, he could probably do more now that they took away the big tree that was sitting in front of his window. So he could probably hold a lot more trees now than what he could traditionally do. Another thing too is it's a lot darker in his studio apartment because his walls are gray. His walls isn't like mine, where it's like white walls, and white walls, sadly, they help bounce off light and it helps your trees.
Now I do have white paneling, but they're border paneling, so around my windows,
And that,
around my cabinets and stuff like that, and doors. So
yeah, I mean, but that really doesn't,
it doesn't
do
give it
much.
as wide of a range as it does. It helps, but it doesn't give it the full range it needs. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, the help is like minute
It's
compared.
very little.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very little.
I mean, really nothing. So he, for example, if he was to grow something like this, this is a fiddle leaf fig. This would be on the unusual bonsai scale. If he was to grow something like this, he couldn't. Because it takes so much more light. There's a thing there, by the way. Don't hit your head on the canopy. But it takes so much more light than what he has. So, he'd have to adapt to something like this. So, for example, he's barely doing good with the variegated weeping figs that he's got. And that there is pretty
In fact,
much.
the good thing about my variegated weeping fig, if anybody's seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, I am working on trying to get the soil decorated like the forest in The Wizard of Oz. I have a good price on some yellow gravel that I'm going to end up making the yellow brick road. And then I'm working on trying to find the little figurines of Dorothy, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow.
Alright, well, this video has already gone to 14 minutes long. We don't want to make it a whole hour. Then everybody will be like, man, they're just really talking about bonsai. You know what? If you guys want maybe a discussion where we just sit down and we just really talk about bonsais, maybe I'll do a live. Leave a comment down below if you guys want us to do a live, and we'll do a live video. We'll talk about our bonsais. I'll have him maybe bring some bonsai trees that he wants to talk about, introduce to the channel. But you said your channel is what now?
Bonsai with Andrew.
All right, so, look him up, subscribe to him. He ain't got no videos right now because he's been busy, he's been working. He's a busy guy, he's a busy character.
There's only a couple of videos on there that I couldn't take down, and that's just because that was our original paranormal group page. But they're basically stuck on there. I can't really get those off.
Well, I mean, that's okay, because we're going to be trying to do that again anyways.
Well, yeah, but it's going to be a separate channel.
Yeah. I mean, but at least you could say it's like, an introduction of what to expect with that channel.
Right.
But
and here in the next few weekends or so, I'm going to put my first introduction on that channel because I did just finish getting everything switched over, changed up, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead probably next weekend when I get a little bit of free time, and I'm going to put my introduction on there, explanation of what's going on. And then when I actually get that other channel up and running, I will put that channel on one of those introductions.
All right, yeah, that sounds awesome. All right, well, anyways, guys, check his channel out. He dressed nice for this video. He put in some effort, and check his channel out and see how his little Chinese doll plant over there does for him. Those ain't the cuttings. His cuttings, well, not cutting, but seedling is inside. I'll take this guy, put him back over onto the bonsai table, and as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day.